I'm gonna say whatever I want. It's called freedom of speech. Excuse me where you swing your braids, please.
Okay.
You're swinging your braids all over.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another very entertaining, action-packed episode of the OverMark Podcast. I'm one half of your co-host, TJ, and then we got my buddy Dave over here. I was trying to position a point at him. Oh, you just hang up.
I'm out of here.
We're
not doing this.
Normally where you might say, hey.
Hey, everybody. That was a joke, by the way. I wasn't actually hanging up and leaving the show. For those that can't detect sarcasm or jokes, well, like to do a little bit of jokey jokes around here. Yeah.
Well, speaking, you got a kind of weird title on this. I think you're the one who put that on there. That's interesting. Real tiny on there to the right of the thing. There.
Oh yeah. Can you read that or no?
Yeah, I can read it pretty well.
Okay, yeah, I tried to make it really small so you would be like, "What is that?"
No, I can read it, but I got out of all the senses, I got the good eyes. But yeah, so we're gonna go over what we're gonna be talking about here a little bit, but and we're not gonna jump right into it, but we're just gonna talk about it. So we got the first annual OverMark Wrestling Awards. I know it's something that a lot of you guys been asking about. Dave's real excited about it. My cats are real excited about it. And yeah, but we'll get into that afterwards. Before we get into that, what's going on, Dave?
Oh, not much, just chilling. I had just resaw the art that you did with Rocky and Michael, so it gave me a little bit of a chuckle before the show again. That's good stuff. It was a Monday, not super eventful at work, thankfully. So, Chaboy's got plenty of energy for the show today. Not that I'm super energetic, moving around type of guy, but yeah. How about you?
I don't know. We're here, man. I went to work. It was a pretty easy day. My dad wasn't there, so I drove around with the other guys, and they didn't really have too much going on. It's real slow. One of the other guys that we were doing some work on his roof was like, "How slow are you guys?" And he was all like freaking out. And but everything's slow this time of year, especially when everything's very expensive. Roofs are expensive, and the one guy we were talking to was selling like playgrounds and stuff. So I imagine they're kind of expensive too.
Yeah, playgrounds. Yeah, it's that shit's real expensive.
Yeah,
and speaking of playgrounds, the where I work, my office is situated by a playground that I used to go to when I was a kid. And when I say kid, I'm talking like 4 years old, like real young. And just happens to be where that place is located. And the park that was there was this awesome big wooden park, like it had slides and like just crazy things to climb up, and like big like fortress type of thing, and like tunnels to climb through. And because all these bums keep hanging out and shooting up in the park, they tore down the park, and it's just like some swing sets and like a couple of pavilions. There's no more
nice
park. I mean, there's still a park, but there's no playground anymore, I should say.
Well, I guess you don't want kids hanging around there.
Right. And obviously, with them shooting up at the playground, like you can't have kids around that. Like, oh, hey, Billy, what'd you find there? Oh, it's a hypodermic needle. You would obviously we can't have that.
Yeah.
But probably the solution would have been, put a police officer there and have them arrest people that are shooting up at the park. But I digress.
Yeah, I used to run into needles occasionally too, growing up at some of the playgrounds we had, which is kind of weird because we don't live in the worst area, but it's like there's definitely a lot of drug addicts that were there. But yeah, I don't know.
Don't do drugs, people.
Yeah.
Just
we're in a new year now.
Stay alive.
Yeah, but besides that, we're in this new year, 2026, right? Is that the one we're in?
Yep.
Okay. So,
allegedly, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm sure just like me, you didn't do anything exciting for New Year's, and you maybe didn't even make it to stay up that late.
I was asleep before 10 o'clock.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I woke up in the middle of the night, and partook a little bit, and then went back to bed. That was it.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I actually woke up right kind of at midnight because I think people were like shooting off fireworks and guns and shit off in the
Yeah.
distance. But
Oh, speaking of people shooting off guns, lady in my county, a couple of neighborhoods over, people were shooting off their gun celebrating the new year, and
Yeah.
it ended up on her bed under her pillow.
damn, so she got pretty lucky, huh?
She turned over and she's like, because she heard a noise, and then there was a hole in her wall, in burning hot bullet under her fucking pillow. So you don't shoot off guns, folks, in a celebratory fashion. You only fire them for like self-defense
Guns.
or in a controlled environment that is made for that. You do not shoot them off at the 4th of July, New Year's Eve, that sort of thing. You might accidentally shoot a lady in her head while she's in bed.
That's not the first story I've heard of something like that. And there actually has been stories where the person has gotten killed.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Well, people are just, doing their thing, not really thinking of consequences or anything, which, isn't out of the norm for a lot of people there. But I feel like I was gonna bring something up. So, yeah, so like New Year, New Me. You might remember that picture I sent you of Christopher Moltisanti, and he's like smoking the cigarette, and he's like working out, and he looks a little
He's
bit
all-
fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's New Year, New Me, right? New Kratom user, so to speak.
Oh, no. Not Kratom.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. That stuff that Sabu was doing when he died or whatever. I don't know. I guess the wrestlers are doing it, and it's safe in non-abused doses. I don't know. I've never actually done it. I know I drive past all these stores, and it's like Kava, Kratom, THCA, and I'm like, huh. Well, we've got recreational weed going on the ballot for this year, I do believe. Go Florida.
So,
See if we can have it not pass with 59% again, like what we got last time.
yeah, something like that'll probably happen. But I was just thinking, so like, I feel like I put it on here, but I guess I didn't. But we were gonna do it in honor of one of our heroes.
Oh, we didn't add that on here. We'll just talk about that guy maybe next show. I don't know. Brandon was very staunchly advising us to.
Well, let me hit you up with some facts. Brandon doesn't watch the podcast. He hasn't ever watched the podcast, and I've asked Brandon to like the thing just once, and he hasn't been able to do that. So,
Brandon,
so
you better be watching.
hasn't done it once, and this is going to be proof of this shit. So, you guys ever seen the Burger King guy? He's a household name in the airports, and we just wanted to let you guys know that this guy, nobody knows the real story here. So he suffered from a lot of mental conditions here, and he also got scammed at the same time. So we're not excusing his vocabulary, but we just want to honor the guy. And you know what I'm going to honor him in, Dave? Men's mental health awareness. Because
Okay, that's a good thing.
yeah, so I don't want anybody to tell me what we're going to do and how we're going to spin it, because we're going to do whatever the fuck we want, however the fuck we want. And today we're honoring Ryan Brewer, a fucking hero. He may have been a dumbass that said some stupid stuff, but in the end, he's an American. And that, to me, is the real heroic deed.
Being American?
Yes.
Go America!
Yes.
Yes. Being American is heroic, everybody. And
But yeah, he passed away, I think, in April earlier this year. And yeah, he died alone, probably pretty lonely. He was getting scammed by Jamaican women. At least I guess it was women, but he would go over to Jamaica. They would like take his money somehow, and he would come over on these flights like a complete wreck because people ripped him off. So if there's
that's not great.
if there's anything to learn from this, if some random Jamaican woman's hitting you up online and she wants money, what would you do?
Well, I mean, I get hit up for money by random people on the internet all the time, and I tell them the same thing that I'd tell that Jamaican woman. I don't got no money for me. Fuck you think I got money for you for? And then she'd probably be like,
while he was over there, he was like pretty much homeless. He was sleeping on beaches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think he had to like get like the government involved to get a ticket back over, right? Or am I wrong about that?
No, he did. That was definitely a thing. I remember reading that when I read the backstory about that gentleman. He was
schizophrenic.
Ended up having to reach out to the United States in some fashion and get help to get home. He was sleeping on beaches. He had the Burger King crown. On account of Burger King was like the only food that he could afford to eat, I guess, while he was living on the beach because he got scammed out of all of his money.
He flew to Jamaica with $1,000.
And they gave him the crown. Conflicting reports. Some say they just gave him it to be nice, and other people say that they gave him it because they were like, making fun of him or whatever. The fact remains the guy ended up with a Burger King crown. Yeah.
He sported it well.
Brandon actually fucked this segment up for us because he was like, oh, don't talk about him. So, I was going to stop at Burger King today and I was going to get a crown and I was going to wear it for the segment, but,
Well, we can do a better one next time.
Brandon stole that from you guys. So everybody thank Brandon in the comments section, when this video comes out. Maybe hit him with a...
Brandon was secretly gay.
I mean, when it comes down to it in the end, it's like, what does he know about people that are into this? What does he know about people that watch the podcast? Because he's certainly not one of them. I can promise you that.
He just doesn't want us to be perceived any certain way. He did have our best interests when he was.
And let me tell you something else. When it comes to perception, I'll be perceived the way I fucking want to be perceived. I understand the repercussions and the consequences of the shit that probably nobody's watching anyways. So we're going to have fun with it. You know what I mean? But
I think he said that, well, what if one day people are watching it and they deep dive your old content? And it's like, fuck you, man. Deep dive our old content. We don't have anything on here that shouldn't be on here that is like, and I don't mean fuck you to Brandon. I mean, fuck you to whoever's going to, try to get us, get you with a gotcha. Fuck off with all that. There is no gotchas to be had.
Yeah, maybe we'll do just like a moment of silence for him the next time, and then I'll add the effects later or something like that if you want, and we'll have the hats just to really do it upright. But I just wanted to
just on his birthday or something.
Yeah, we'll really dig out a little bit more. But I just want to let everybody know that this guy exists. Check it out if you want, and make your opinion for yourself. We're honoring the guy, good and bad, and we definitely don't support what he did on the plane in the way of some of the racial slurs that he was throwing out there. But we support, like we said, the message of mental health and men's mental health and anti-scamism.
Yeah, folks don't really talk about men's mental health very often, and folks that get scammed. So we're just we're doing that.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Well, and something else that I think we should talk about is maybe he didn't use enough kratom to kind of figure out that mental health. You know what I mean? Because that's another big thing that I think that you've been exploring in your life is heavy dosage of kratom and the way that it affects your mental health. Yeah.
I don't want to hear that word here again.
I'll be in a cup right now. Ain't no kratom in me.
Why not?
We need to find a place that sells schlong oxygen.
Oh, tell them about the hardcore stuff.
Oh, so, well, we'll just talk about it now. Fuck it. We don't need to save it for the gaming section.
Yeah, that's separate.
TJ and I started playing hardcore WoW on the anniversary servers. I think it's Doomhow, some such thing. And within like the first hour, the server lagged out and we were getting like spam disconnects, and then I died. So that was a fun experience filled with lag and disconnects and ultimately death. But we bounced back and we leveled new characters. I think we made it to like level 6 or 7. We're parked in Goldshire right now. We're gonna pick that back up probably tomorrow or at some point.
We'll get 60
here over the next couple days. Yeah, we won't be able to do it tonight because we have the show and then we have Raw, and I'm sure Raw will actually be good tonight. A lot of goings on and potential things happening. And obviously, since it's this is the season premiere of Raw, because the beginning of the year is just when their season starts. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
it's
funny.
Might see Jericho. Who knows?
Yeah, so that'll lead us into like talking about this a little bit, and then we can segment into what we were going to talk about anyways. But yeah, so Jericho might be coming back. I bet you he's not. I think he's going to be coming on the Rumble, but you never know. I know Netflix wants him to bring out the big stars for this. So whatever the fuck it may be, that'll be it. But what else is there? Roman Reigns is going to pop up. Chad Gable's going to pop up. And I think somebody else that I saw. I'm not sure who that is, though.
It's escaping me right now. I saw 4 people.
Whatever. I think we went over them then.
Same thing. Yeah, fuck it. And we got a couple other little things here we'll touch on before we jump into the awards or whatever. A quick little tidbit about Dom. Obviously, we had a segment for it later, but it's old news by now. He is going to be out of action for a short time. He is going to be okay. They said that he's not going to have surgery, so they're expecting him to be out like 3 or 4 weeks. So ultimately, it's not going to really impact major storytelling arcs or anything like that they had. It just little hiccup in the road for what they're doing with him creatively right now, but he'll be okay, and that's good.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
What else was there? I feel like somebody else got hurt. That girl that's with Chelsea Green, didn't she get hurt on Friday?
No, I'll tell you who did get hurt though. And special shout out to our boy Ryan, aka Beatus. He went to the house show that was in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Which is the same house show that they're reporting that B-Fab potentially suffered a concussion. Beatus was in here the next day telling us, hey,
whacked her head.
I think that B-Fab suffered a concussion in that match because she got dropped straight on her face, and it took her a long time to get out of the ring, and they were coming out there to help her to the back, but she ended up getting to the back under her own power. So we that was something that we kind of got the scoop on, but because we're late to do the show here, just because TJ and I are tired and we do it when we feel like it, we could have scooped everybody there with that. But yeah, so we actually knew about that before it was announced, thanks to our boy Ryan. And hopefully you hear this. I know he listens. He does. He'll bring up shit that he has heard on here to me. So
yeah, that was definitely something that he brought up. He was like, "Man, Jade Cargill just slammed her on her head." Not a surprise. I don't want to shit on anybody, but it's kind of a history of Jade doing this to chicks throughout her short career. We won't harp on that too much further because we said we don't want to speak negatively about somebody who's probably trying their hardest.
Well, and to give her some props, Ryan said that she looked incredible.
Well, I bet
TV doesn't do her justice. Yeah. He was floored.
Yeah, I bet.
Good for you. And he was close. He was third row. Like to paint the picture for everybody. Obviously, you know already, TJ, but our fine overmaniacs don't. He was sitting behind where commentary would normally be, but because it was a house show, obviously there are no commentary, and he was in the third row. He got interactions with Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa told him to go fuck himself. Io Sky did the pointy thing. He got an interaction with her too, so that's pretty cool. It was his first ever wrestling event. I was pretty happy for him.
Yeah. Oh, you're the only night.
Yeah, LA Knight wasn't there, but he was hoping he was going to be.
But yeah, I'm sure he had a great time, and he's wanting to do more. They're coming here at the beginning of February, but I probably won't be able to afford it. The nosebleeds are like $150, so I don't.
Oh shit! speaking of nosebleeds and not being able to avoid it,
Oh, that's fine.
I just became Tate.
Yeah.
Tim, the other Tim, Pog,
Yeah.
is at Raw tonight. Him and his kids, he got him tickets in the nosebleeds because Raw was coming and they wanted to go. And I was like, man, that's awesome. So
Yeah, it is.
you know, shout out to our boy Tim, not current TJ Tim, but the other Tim. You know, hope he has fun at Raw tonight, and looking forward to hearing the firsthand tales of the experience that he had. I don't think he's been to wrestling in probably like 15 or 20 years. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have a fucking great time. Why wouldn't he?
Yep.
But
WWE puts on a great live experience.
yeah, you know, I've actually never been to WWE live show before. I've only been to AEW in their live event. I've definitely kind of left a little bit to be desired. I feel like the one show I went to, the first one I really enjoyed in Winston-Salem, MJF, Jeff Jarrett, Bryan Danielson, and a couple other people. But all right.
What's not to like?
Yeah. All right. So you want to dive into these things here?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. You asked, we delivered. The Overmark 2025 Wrestling Awards, sponsored in part by Stacker 2. You guys, and Punani. We have Punani as a sponsor. So Stacker 2 and Punani, get it at your local gas station near you now. And then you need to go to the gas station, Mr. Soprano.
But
That's
yeah.
like that.
All right, so let's highlight this.
Sorry, I'm fixing something.
You're good. Do whatever you need to do. I'm going to highlight this year in wrestling. So go back to last year's Royal Rumble and last year in AEW in January and just kind of pick up where they were going. So I feel like this was like around the time Daniel Bryan, I don't know. I'm kind of off on the AEW stuff because it's harder to track their stuff in my mind. But, you know, Jon Moxley had a shitty run all year, finally lost. There was about a good month of TV, I feel like, maybe 3 weeks around the time Adam Page beat Moxley. But beyond that, I feel like beyond like maybe a little thing here and there, they had overall a pretty terrible year of television while they had pay-per-views that people rated pretty highly. At least their fans did. They seem to be really the people that like their stuff, they like it a lot, and the people that don't. And then WWE, they had a very pretty shitty year themselves as well. They had a couple pretty solid WrestleMania packages with like the Rollins, Reigns, and Punk deal. But overall, WWE's year has been highlighted by their reliance on women's wrestling and it kind of coming to the forefront and them kind of being the most entertaining thing on the show. But that being said, we're hoping that this year's better for both companies, and it seems like WWE the past couple weeks has been, you know, doing a little bit better, but you know, they're on the road to WrestleMania, so hopefully they got a better one than last year. And I'll toss it to Dave and he'll give his little bit closing thoughts or whatever he feels like saying, and then we'll move on.
Well, I mean, you pretty much dotted all the T's and crossed all. Wait, no, that's
whatever
the
it is.
Inverse of that.
Yeah.
Dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's there with that one. Boy, I have some kind of mental block that I can't even. But anyway, the point of what he was saying is that both shows can and do need to do better. Hopefully in 2026 we get that. I think that 2024 was a pretty solid year and that 2025 was not as good in comparison, and that's probably part of why we didn't like 2025 as much, because 2024 was actually pretty solid. But there was a lot of good stuff, and we'll get into it here in the awards, and I don't have music for it, but we'll use the old news music.
Oh, we just got a new subscriber,
Yeah.
Dave. Let me call him out since
Hell yeah.
His name is Mig Monster. So Mig,
Hell yeah.
you made the right fucking choice.
Thanks, Mig Monster. Appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah.
Match of the year. Dave, what you got?
Wrestler of the year.
Well, hell yeah.
is the first one.
Hell yeah. What you got?
I got Io Sky. Like TJ was just talking about, WWE's been relying heavily on the women this year or last year, and Io Sky is the wrestler of the year for me. She pretty much can do no wrong in my eyes right now.
You know,
What about you?
I was gonna go with MJF, but I couldn't do that because he hasn't been wrestling a lot this year.
That's fair.
They haven't been doing a lot with him to really highlight how good he is. But overall, I put it with Gunther. I feel like he's living his gimmick more than anybody else. His matches, he never has one that it doesn't. He's never doing shit that he shouldn't be doing. You know, everything he does looks great. His promos are fucking awesome. They really highlighted him this year and gave him there can only be one guy to retire John Cena, and that's the guy I went with.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid choice. And if you guys think that our choice sucks, let us know in the comments and tell us who your wrestler of the year is. And we'll move on here. We're not going to say that every single thing because that would get old. Match of the year candidate. Who was yours, TJ?
Okay, so mine was Punk versus Reigns versus Rollins. When it comes to a good match for me, it's about the psychology mixed in there as well, and the story going up to it and afterwards and what it affects and all that. And this story affected, I feel like, wrestling more than any other story in any other faction promotion this year. And the match was great, and Paul Heyman being involved in the way that he was involved was just the top of the cherry or cake or whatever the fucking thing is called.
Yeah, it was a great match. I struggled with this one because there were a lot of good matches this year, and I almost went with the match that you went with, but fans out there that are turbo neurotic about remembering all the dates and shit are going to crucify me for this. And since I can't remember, feel free to skewer me, but Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. It was either at Evolution or it was a match that they had on Raw. I would have to go back and rewatch both of them. Irregardless, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky had the match of the year for me.
Yeah, they had a couple of them.
Bangers this year. I remember specifically you, me, and Brandon watched one, and that was the one that I was like, that might be match of the year.
Early
if not, it's women's match of the year.
She beat her.
That's the match I'm talking about.
I think it's you're talking about the one that was on Raw in March.
Might have been like March.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good stuff. It feels like forever ago, or actually just yesterday that happened. This year has flown by, but I think that's a pretty good choice too. They're teaming now. They always have great chemistry. Io Sky's had a great year, and she could actually have had a better year if they booked her better. But so my tag team of the year, we were kind of just going on women's wrestling. Was Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair.
Hell yeah, that's a good choice, and they have really turned Charlotte Flair around with that team.
Yeah, she's getting booed.
I didn't know if it could be done. Yeah, everybody loves her now. Even guys like Brandon and Beatus.
They didn't like her when she first popped up.
Not at all. And I like Charlotte Flair. You know, and I know she's looking for a potential new suitor, and throw my hat in the ring. Hey girl, what's up?
In the end,
I ain't got much going on.
She's a wrestling legend,
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with their dad's name, but she couldn't have held the thing and done her own if she didn't have the talent.
Right. She would not still be going if she was just Ric Flair's daughter. Like, that wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
And you can't be first, Charlotte, but you can be next.
Oh, no. Well, what's your choice next?
I went with a little bit of nostalgia here, and they had an incredible run across multiple companies, and they had a stellar pay-per-view performance with the Dudleys here back in October. I'm talking about the Hardys. They worked for AEW last year. They weren't used very well there. They ended up in TNA. They became the TNA champions. TNA obviously has that cross-promotion deal with WWE. They became NXT champions. I cannot remember the name of the fellas that they put over in the tag match to lose the NXT titles back to the NXT guys, but that was a great fucking match. I might be riding the nostalgia train hard for this pick, but it's the Hardys. It just is what it is.
Well, you're not the only person that's done that. And there's been some people, I'm going to be a hater here, that have given the Young Bucks that title this year. And it's like, fuck, the Hardys have had a better year than them.
The fuck did they do last year that was, I'll give them credit. When they did the angle where they lost their EVP status and they were coming out with like little shitty entrances and stuff like that, that was pretty entertaining. I can be objective even when it comes to them. And, that stuff was entertaining. And then when they started winning the money matches and they were using the money for it to have extravagant, like over the top entrances, that also was entertaining. So, I'll give them that.
Not
so you guys can never say that
no,
that didn't get you tag team of the year. FTR is probably my favorite active tag team right now. And they didn't get tag team of the year from me either.
They got it from a lot of people. I think that's what the SI one, the one that everybody keeps, quoting or whatever. But anyways,
Sports Illustrated says it.
Yeah. So we both, I think, have the same one here on this next one. If you want to go ahead and.
Oh yeah. Well, female wrestler of the year. If you guys have been listening to the last couple of things, is probably going to be no surprise. Io Sky. She's going to, by the end of her career, be one of the Mount Rushmore women wrestlers.
Yeah, and the thing is,
without question,
like, since she's Asian, she'll hold that look for a very long time. So that, I mean, I know that kind of sounds kind of weird to think about it, but
look at Kairi Sane and Asuka. They're both like 37, 38 years old, and they literally could pass for like 22, 23. They're like, they just age better than we do. That's not racist. That's a fact.
Yeah, I just said that it's going to help their career. There's no way it could hurt, is what I'm saying there. But yeah, Io Sky had an amazing year, and her stuff with Rhea Ripley's been pretty good. To end off the year, everybody that you just mentioned, Sane, Asuka, Ripley, Sky, they've been doing some great shit, and I've been enjoying it. But
and to circle back real quick before we move on, the women in AEW have also performed exceptionally well in 2025. I don't want this to be like a knock or like we're just blowing the WWE here.
Yeah, they have some women there that have really stepped it up.
Yep. You know, like Statlander, Willow, Nightingale.
I feel like Willow, she just won their TBS championship. And I've been saying for about a year now that I feel like she's the best woman, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. She's the best, one of the best ones they have over there for sure. They had Monet with the belt. And how many times have I said Willow's way better than fucking Monet?
Yeah. They got Sky Blue over there. She's a personal favorite of TJ and I,
She's been in the same spot for 3 years.
Toni Storm. She's one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of these women just have poor booking and they're just stuck in the same spot. Like Queen Amanada, people are getting behind her and she's hurt now. But I mean, she's having a tough time working her way out of that wet paper bag that Tony's got her wrestling in.
Yep.
So we got the promotional move of the year, and we're both the same here, and I'll start us off on this one. So it's WWE buying AAA. I don't think there was another option this year. I mean, AAA's a pretty big wrestling promotion, Mexican. It's them and CMLL. I think CMLL may be the bigger one, but AAA was challenging them for that spot at one point. And, I mean, really, what other choice would there be here, Dave?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought really hard, and you are right about CMLL being generally considered the bigger, more traditional, and historically significant promotion due to its age.
Absolutely.
They say here that it's the oldest active in the world.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's cool.
I didn't know that either. That's really cool. Yeah, hell yeah. We might have to start paying a little bit more attention to what's going on in CMLL. I don't know. That's if they can hang in that long. But anyway, speaking of hanging in there, we had obviously that happened. Then we got our pay-per-view or PLE of the year. Me and TJ had the same pick again. I promise the rest of this list is not going to be TJ and I making the same picks, but there's a few in there. and it would be WrestleMania 41.
Night one specifically for me, but
Yes. Night one specifically for me as well. Night two was good, don't get me wrong, but just night one was a complete event.
Yeah.
For lack of a better description.
Yeah. I don't think that there was a better wrestling event this year. When you talk about the pacing and the matches and everything, the whole package, the best event this year for me. I know a whole bunch of people that would completely disagree with that and tell you that every AEW event this year was better, and that you're entitled to that opinion. And let us know if you think that. And
I like that one guy that's like, oh, every time the AEW has a pay-per-view, it's the best pay-per-view that they've ever done. And it's like, well, let's just move on. I don't want this to turn into a shitting on anything event. This is awards. Let's move on. The inverse of shitting on things is to award them.
Yeah, absolutely. Weekly show of the year. So you actually lied. This is the same too. We both did it.
Well, I said that there were a few. There's a few more probably. Well, but yeah, go ahead.
Raw. And I don't see any way that anybody could really disagree with this. It's the weekly. This is a television show. It's wrestling, but overall it's a television show. And a wrestling television show, generally, the product has been laid out there, the formula. You need some good stories and some good matches. And neither company right now is doing very good mixture of either. But I feel like the show that did the best version of that this year was Raw.
Yeah, that's fair. And if we were to say what would be the second best show, because we didn't talk about that and we didn't put that down, that would actually be a hard choice because SmackDown has been largely terrible. Right?
I think you could say that the Dynamite would probably be it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. We put Dynamite at number 2. It definitely wouldn't be SmackDown or Collision.
No, absolutely not. They're both fucking garbage. And Dynamite, again, not trying to hate. I just feel like as a television show, they've had a lot of great matches. But I feel like as a television show, it's left a little bit to be desired, and that's why we went with Raw. And some of those things have been changing over the last year. So maybe we're going to be looking forward to some better Dynamites this year. Pessimistically not holding out hope, but I am optimistic and I have noticed changes. So maybe they'll start coming in faster than we hope, and we get more better wrestling. And that goes for WWE as well. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the most outstanding wrestler. And that's just, the in-ring product, really, I guess. And
I wasn't sure what the qualifier was for that, so my answer may not make sense here. But that's okay. Go ahead and get yours out.
Well, no, I mean, that's what it is. Most outstanding wrestler is the guy that's the best in the ring. For whatever in-ring style that you enjoy the best, that would be it. And I don't know if I enjoy the style the best, but I feel like it's got to be Will Ospreay. I mean, he's definitely putting in a lot of fucking effort in his matches. He can tell a story in the ring. He should slow down a little bit sometimes, but overall, super talented guy, and he probably won't be able to move very well in 10 years.
No. Well, shit. I had changed my answer, and then because I was I was thinking of different framing and qualifiers for outstanding wrestler as opposed to in-ring. I was thinking of like whole package, but I ended up going with Braun Breaker. Obviously he's not the best in-ring wrestler in the world, but his entire package is what I like to see for a guy. And boy, that
he's improved a lot
really
this year.
fruity. Yeah, he almost got most improved from me, but somebody else improved quite a bit, and they took that over. So, since we're talking about who improved, I'll go ahead and tell you. For me, my most improved wrestler of the year, Raquel Rodriguez. She was working down to these girls' size instead of making them work up to her. Yeah, I'm stealing Kevin Nash. And I mean, she took Kevin Nash's advice and
I think the company
improved drastically. Like when they started using her like a big girl and she started working big, she improved so much, and the presentation became a lot better.
I mean, same with Big Show. I mean, you can imagine him working down the guys. That won't fucking work.
No, if you're big, you make everybody work to your size. That's foolish not to. And he was right, she was right, and here we are. Who was your most improved wrestler this year?
Kyle Fletcher.
It's a great choice.
Promos, size, in-ring ability. I feel like he improved more than anybody else this year. He was looking like a dweeb at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, with his fried. He has a haircut like mine, except for it was like to here.
In his buggy whip arms,
the fried blonde bowl cut, and his buggy whip arms. His physique is stellar.
Nuts. It's nuts.
It's we're about to sound gay here because we're commenting on a guy's physique, but I don't care. He is in incredible shape now. The turnaround of what he has done to his body. Like, look at 2024 Kyle Fletcher and look at 2025 Kyle Fletcher and realize that TJ made a very good choice.
Yeah, he's definitely putting in the work. And speaking of putting in the work, we're going to talk about the best feud / rivalry here. And mine was Punk versus Rollins. And Dave's was the same, to break it to you.
Yeah, as another where we picked the same shit.
I mean,
guys.
How could it not be? These two guys have put in some of the best promos this year against each other multiple weeks in a row. One promo against somebody like 1 week is amazing. But sometimes when you do it multiple times a week, and then you're doing it like 6 times a month, like they put it in. It just, it was a good year for them. That's what stuck out to me.
Can't say enough good things about both of them. And speedy recovery to Seth so that we can continue to enjoy all of this.
That was going to be the payoff at WrestleMania, is Punk winning the belt from Rollins, but that whole thing, got fast tracked because of Rollins getting hurt.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah, they did
earlier.
Wow. They did.
Well, and speaking of pulling the trigger, we're going to pull the trigger on moving on to our next category, best in-ring psychology, and you guys are about to hate us. TJ and I both picked CM Punk. I promise we didn't do this on purpose.
Yeah.
There's maybe 1 or 2 more that cross over, and it just is what it is. There's more than 2 that cross over. I just looked at the rest of the list. Sorry about that. Can't say enough good things about CM Punk's in-ring psychology this year and in general.
You seen
he does
people,
things that make sense.
You seen people shitting on like how Kevin Nash brought up like how he's wearing a shirt and how he should just call it quits, and then people have been saying that he's been like looking like shit in the ring and stuff like that. There are some times where that's the case, but and you're really gonna miss this guy when he's gone. I can promise you. Yep. You are gonna fucking miss.
Nash was actually giving him props today. I was reading, so he while he was shitting on him about the shirt thing, he went back and he saw the promo that he cut last week, him and Breaker in the ring, and he's like, dick's all hard. He's all about it.
Well, he looks better than he used to. So what the fuck are they talking about? His arms are bigger.
Nash is just giving him shit for wrestling in a shirt for whatever reason. I don't know why he's wrestling in a shirt right now. Maybe he got a new tattoo. Maybe he had something cut off of his skin. Yeah. Usually dudes don't just go from not wearing a shirt to wearing a shirt for no reason. Probably a medical thing, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. But then we'll go ahead and move on from that great in-ring psychology award that we gave to the best finisher. And what was the best finisher for you this year?
Even though this move is spammed in AEW, I went with Penta's Mexican Destroyer. The way that he does it looks like he's killing people, and I can't remember who it was. I think he hit it on Grayson Waller. I'm asking that as a question.
Don't know.
It looked like he killed him with it. Remember, it was like the off the ropes one. You remember?
I remember it. I just don't remember who it was against. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Beatus came in losing his mind. He's like, "Did you see that?
Yeah,
I think he's hurt for real." So
they did their job.
Yeah, Penta doing the Mexican Destroyer is my finisher of the year in terms of excitement, looking devastating, looking believable on the people that he's hit it on, and the excitement factor that it generates in the friend group.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, mine. I think that's a good choice, by the way. But mine was Bronson Reed Tsunami. I feel like
Hell yeah.
they've gotten him over with that thing. He's destroyed multiple guys. Anytime they needed to write somebody off this year, or not anytime, but multiple times, they just have him hit him with that a couple times, and it's believable. He can pull it off pretty simple. It's not like it takes him a lot of work. You just got to climb up there, and I think he broke 2 of his ankles doing the move one point off the top of the rope, or off the top of wherever the fuck he came from, was the cage or the rope.
Off that cage, yeah.
Yeah. But
That was awesome though.
yeah, it was. But
And
it's just like, I don't think there's been any other guy that's actually really ever pulled that off as a move, had they?
Yokozuna used to
Not off
do
the top
a
rope.
kind of similar move off the middle rope. But yeah, I mean, I don't really. Hugh Morris used to do the moonsault. That's the only other big guy I can think of that would be doing something like that. You know, and obviously the tsunami is not a moonsault. And by the way, special honorable shout out to Wade Barrett here. The way that he commentates the tsunami sells the shit out of it.
Yeah, it does.
You know,
He does a great job.
oh, that's a really good. You know, we do have that. Never mind. Okay, why don't you tell us about our next awards segment there, TJ?
So this is Best on the Mic here, and I put CM Punk. I feel like that's a pretty easy one there.
That's kind of.
I don't know who you
Kind
put
of
number
no-brainer.
2, if it was Rollins or like you got. So go ahead and talk about yours.
Well, I mean, I did Punk and MJF as kind of a tie, but ultimately Punk deserves the award, and MJ not that MJF doesn't deserve accolades, but I'll circle back to a point that TJ made earlier of we didn't see very much of MJF last year, and what we did see on the mic was good, but just we had a whole year of Punk going toe to toe flame throwing with guys, so you know, how can you pick anybody else?
Absolutely. Punk's the man. I don't think that's a surprise. If you could listen to any of this list, you would have probably. It's funny. You probably think Punk would be a wrestler of the year or whatever, even though he's
This is the CM Punk podcast, actually brought to you in part by
Yeah.
Pepsi and G.I. Joe.
So moving on, we got the Veteran of the Year award, and I gave that to AJ Styles. I think he's had a pretty good year in ring. He hasn't been wrestling all year. He had a good return and everything, but I just, for me, that's the guy.
Yeah, that's a great choice, and that was actually the choice that I almost made, and I begrudgingly gave it to Cena this year. Just wanted to give him a nod, and yeah, I'm not a big Cena guy, but I appreciate his ability to have longevity in the industry, and I respect what he has been able to do with the opportunities that he's been presented. So
Yeah.
that's why I will give Cena Veteran of the Year.
Great
Congratulations on your retirement, and well earned. The booking with this year might not have been the greatest for him, but it is what it is.
Absolutely. I think that's an awesome choice. And then we got the Workhorse of the Year, and mine was LA Knight. I think he wrestled the most times out of anybody else this year. Don't have that number. I looked it up. That's one of the reasons why I picked him.
Remember hearing that the other day, that LA Knight wrestled more matches in the WWE in 2025 than anybody else. So I don't think that that's made up. I recall reading an article where that was stated in it. So I mean, that's a hell of a thing. That shows that the company knows that he's dependable, and that people want to see him.
Yeah.
Even if you're not seeing him featured in the main event storylines and things of that nature, you're seeing him every week. So, there is that. Mine ended up being, I gave it to Toni Storm. She carried the AEW women's division quite a bit outside of the, there's like 5 or 6 girls there that are really strong that we mentioned earlier. and her character work, her everything. I think she was on almost every week of Dynamite. Every week that I watched it, she was on.
At the
And
beginning
I
of
would.
the year, she took a little bit of a break.
So we're gonna break
Toni
into the
Storm.
best title reign of the year.
Well, here's another one. Why don't you take us into this one?
Well, TJ and I talked earlier about the women of the WWE carrying the company last year, and
Yep, definitely.
the best title reign of the year, according to Dave and TJ both, are Tiffany Stratton. She held the belt for the entire year, made it matter, had interesting promos, had matches that you wanted to see.
It elevated her. And
It did what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
She's a star now.
how many people in AEW get a belt? And again, this isn't me shitting on anybody. It happens in WWE as well, but I feel like it's happened more frequently in AEW through the years. They get a belt and it doesn't enhance them.
Right. They just have it. And then they just have matches to have matches.
She had momentum, took the momentum, and actually she refined her character, seemed serious, and became a real legitimate star for the company. Good on her. Good on the booking. It wasn't always perfect, but she definitely had a pretty good year. I feel like when it came to champions, she definitely had the best run out of anybody. Had the most defenses, I believe. I could be wrong. And here's where we get to the most divisive one here, because I think a lot of people would say that it's just some guy in a mask, but we got the announcer, commentator of the year. Who was yours?
Well, I'm actually changing it on the fly here, and I'm going to circle back to something I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to throw props behind our man, Wade Barrett.
Awesome commentator.
That's not a slight on the other commentators.
That was my number 2.
I felt like that like I mentioned with Bronson Reed, he did a good job of making things matter in certain instances, or conveying to the audience in a way to make things more exciting or just more important. He's done it. So, originally I was going to say Michael Cole, but that's just an unoriginal answer. And I wasn't really thinking, I wasn't putting much thought into my answer at that point. So yeah, Wade Barrett, announcer, commentator of the year for Dave. What is yours, TJ?
Mine's Corey Graves. I feel like he does a very good job emphasizing things, using correct verbiage to sell things. He paints a picture for you, and that's what these commentators are supposed to do. They're not supposed to fucking flip out and yell about everything, and there is times for that, and that is definitely a thing that they do. But he does a very good job at taking the heel side, painting pictures, painting the good guy as a piece of shit, and then when he does a face, he's really good at that too. He reminds me a lot of Jerry Lawler in the sense that he can do both roles really well, and when he's a heel, he just fucks around. He makes these really stupid little jokes, and I don't know. He's good at what he does.
I agree. So good job, Corey, and good job, Wade. Appreciate you guys.
Oh, here's
and
the
speaking of guys that we appreciate, if you are no stranger to this show, you would instantly know who TJ and I would pick as our choice for this category, referee of the year. And obviously the nod goes to our boy. We know him and love him, Eddie Oregano. Even though it's not Eddie Oregano, that's what we call him. He's
the man.
He's the man.
He's doing it right.
I don't know what else to say. Exactly. You got anything you'd like to add about Eddie?
When they got a guy that they need to be on camera in the story talking, they're picking Eddie.
Yep.
And when they're bringing these guys up, it always seems to be Eddie. I don't know. He
is the Earl Hebner of this generation.
Yeah, and the sooner you get used to it, the sooner you just strap in, because it's not going anywhere. Yep. And speaking of that,
he's the sheriff.
Yeah, something else that's not going anywhere. Which this is a hard choice here. I feel like this is going to be Booker of the Year, and it's just been a bad year of wrestling. This is another thing where Dave and I had the same choice with Triple H, and I don't really feel good about that. I feel like him and Tony probably had a very similar year. They could probably be 1A and 1B. I mean, I feel like you could flip a coin, and depending on the day, that could be the case. But Triple H definitely hasn't had a great year, but I feel like Tony hasn't had a great year, and the main reason why I can't pick Tony is just he hasn't really built any new stars. The TV, it's down. The attendance is down, and in the end, at least the WWE is still getting these big houses, and when something matters, about it. They're able to promote something. That's a big part of being a booker, and in the end, there's a lot of matches on AEW television that never happen that I would like. We still haven't seen Christian and MJF or Edge and MJF. How has that not happened?
We still haven't seen Edge and Christian versus FTR.
Yeah.
And they pile drived Edge's wife.
Yeah.
And it was what, 6 months ago?
Something like that.
It just doesn't make sense. So things like that are why we begrudgingly gave it to Triple H this year. Don't think that we're stoked that that this is how it ended up. Not that we don't want to pick Triple H. It's just, neither guy booked very well this year, and it just is what it is. So, they slightly better. And speaking of slightly better, and me and TJ picking the same thing, we get to our final category here, the most valuable non-wrestler. And I feel like this is kind of an obvious choice. There is almost no one else to pick above this person, and that person is Paul Heyman.
Sorry, I agree though. I mean, obviously, I put it down.
He's one of the best orators in the history of the business. There are not many that can cut a promo or hold the audience's attention or have them in the palm of his hand like Heyman does. Especially people that are not wrestlers. You count on one hand the amount of people that are in manager roles, and none of them are on Heyman's level.
I think Don Callis will be at number 2.
Especially, yeah. Especially if we were going back a year or two, if it's Don Callis with Belt Collector Kenny.
Oh, absolutely. But he's been a big deal on their television, and if there is anybody trying to get people over there, it's him. But yeah, it's Paul. And even backstage doing all the stuff, he's involved in creative and storylines and just training people, and he's just really hands-on. He loves wrestling. He's getting paid a lot of money. And there's no arguing that he's the most valuable non-wrestler this year. He's the man, and it just sucks that Rollins got hurt and we didn't get to see the full fruition of the story that I'm sure that Paul had his hands in pretty heavily.
Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. Yawning tired.
But yeah.
Hang in there though. We're about halfway through the show, folks. Maybe not. I don't know. We're getting there.
We'll go as long as we want. But that's our awards. The first annual OverMark Wrestling Awards. We appreciate you for listening. Yeah.
Screw all this wrestling crap. I just want to get a little slice of my gabagool.
Oh, well, thanks, Tony.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
We're going to talk about wrestling. We're going to
here
talk
he goes
about a little
again.
MMA, and we might even talk some gabagool.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man, I didn't know he was going to be talking about that.
Well, I mean, maybe we should turn this into an adult show, I guess. I don't know.
But all right, jumping out of that, unless you got anything else you want to talk about with that.
Nope, we jump right into this next thing here.
Okay. Hold on, I had to put my chair down a little bit. But anyway, so we got, I wanted to talk about something, a little bit of random topic shit here. And it's, what is the best show to leave on in the background? Like when you're just sitting there watching shows, because me and you do it all the time. We're sitting here playing video games, and then, we decide I think I want to leave something on in the background. It's just a habit. We've been doing it since we've been kids. I got a lot of them, but I'm going to go over a couple that I do first. if that's cool with you.
Yeah, sure.
Trailer Park Boys,
Yep.
King of the Hill,
Yep.
Futurama,
Yep. All of them so far.
American Dad,
Yeah.
Family Guy back in the day, but not as much anymore.
Yeah. Cleveland show as well. I used to do that
like
one
that
a
a
lot in
lot?
the background, but
I've
not
never
as
really
much
watched
anymore.
Cleveland show too much.
Was super funny.
Yeah. What else? What else? South Park used to be good.
Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball
We've
Super.
both been doing Super the past couple
Yeah,
weekends.
we've both been doing Super.
Let me think. I know there's
Dark Side of the Ring is something that I'll
Yeah.
put on in the background a lot.
Scrubs isn't bad. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Yeah.
I know there's another animated show that I watch, but I can't think about what it is.
How I Met Your Mother is one that I will have on in the background. It's been a few years since I've done that one, but that used to be a regular rotation.
But we're not here for just a list of them. We're here for the best one. We're gonna do, so I guess we're doing another award, but I think it's King of the Hill. I mean, I can't pick anything better than that.
I'm thinking that's what the silence is.
You're good.
I'm distilling it on down between King of the Hill and Trailer Park Boys.
It's
Part of me wants to go with King of the Hill. Most of me wants to go with King of the Hill, honestly. It just is what it is. But because we had so many Dave and TJ saying the same thing, I almost want to say something. Fuck it, though. It's King of the Hill. It's unanimous. If you don't like it, it's too bad. You'll learn to love it.
yeah, Hank's the man. Really, the whole crew on it are. It's just easy to pick up. It's a wholesome show. If there's a kid around, it's not gonna offend anybody in the family. You know, it's an easy watch. It's an easy listen, and we're gonna do something else that's pretty fucking easy. And we're gonna be talking about Chris Jericho's AEW contract. It expired January 1st, and there's rumors that he might show up tonight. Right? We talked about that.
Yeah. Yep. We're either going to see him tonight on Raw or we're going to see him at the Royal Rumble. And in a little over an hour,
He's still
we may
on.
have our answer.
He's still on AEW's roster. So people were saying that he's still, what did their, the guy that runs their website just not do it? They seem to do it for everybody else. But, I don't know. I'm not a fucking expert on any of that. All I do know is that, he hasn't been on AEW television since he was working as the Learning Tree with Big Bill and Brian Keith. He disappeared after
Like April or May?
No, it wasn't that long. I think it was probably more like June or something. I could be wrong. Maybe you're right. But it's been a while. And he's been gone ever since then. And the whole Big Bill and Brian Keith thing has completely dropped. And Tony has commented that he can't comment on it. And that he hopes that he does come back to AEW, but he can't comment any further. He's going to show up in WWE television. Either that or he's just making Tony wait till the very end to pay him more money.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tactic. You could hold out till the very end. And wow, Trish Stratus is looking great right now. I should have not saw that.
But yeah, supposedly Netflix wants him on the show tonight. So that may or may not happen. We'll see. We'll all be watching in real time, and we'll tell you about that next week if it does happen. We'll react to it. And we're going to move on to the next one here, and that's WWE saying that Dominic Mysterio will be out of action indefinitely. Is that a work or not? Well, we commented on this a little bit ago. He's going to be fine. He ended up getting hurt, but it's not that serious, right?
Yeah, it's 3 to 4 weeks. He just needs a recovery, no surgery. And obviously we talked about this, and this is circling back to another segment. We had our women's wrestler of the year, and I went with Io Sky. You know who ESPN went with?
Who's that?
One of my favorites, Stephanie Vakir.
I think she's a great wrestler. I think the way that she talks really hampers her. She sounds robotic.
She'll get there.
Oh, she will, but and they haven't really booked her the best, She had just won the belt. She hasn't had too crazy of a run with it. But yeah, I'm a fan of hers. But it seems like everybody's really into that devil's kiss move.
Yeah, a bunch of perverts out there, and she's more than just one move, you guys. Stop objectifying her, even though she's gorgeous.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely the case.
Well.
But we're gonna case our ass onto something else here. We're gonna move right
See
through.
you guys later.
No.
Oh, no, wait, we're not leaving. I'm just kidding.
So I thought this one would be interesting to toss in here. But CM Punk almost signed with TNA Wrestling. So Steve McCallum revealed that CM Punk was close to signing with TNA Wrestling. The plan was for McCallum to be Punk's first challenger. Talks happened during the rebrand of TNA, right as D'Amore was being let go. So that was kind of in the period of Punk after he got let go from AEW, right? And Punk had been backstage at TNO's. Sorry, go ahead.
They dropped the ball getting rid of Scott too, because I mean he was there and helped engineer the WWE cross promotion deal, and just anyway, he's doing okay up in Canada now. He's rich anyway. He doesn't need the money.
Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling.
Yeah,
but Punk had been backstage at TNA shows in Chicago multiple times. The deal was discussed internally but never finalized, and this was a week before Punk's AEW fallout and WWE return. I don't know about that last one. It says this was not a week. Sorry, this was before Punk's AEW fallout and WWE return. That doesn't make any sense. It would have had to have been after the fallout because he wouldn't be negotiating with somebody that's illegal.
right. That's not legal. You can't do that. So I think that was just a mistype there. And yeah, so I mean,
That would have.
seeing Punk in TNA would have been cool, but he's where he should be.
Here's a question: if he did go to TNA, would TNA have better ratings or be competing with AEW now?
Yes. And we'll actually be talking a little bit about that.
One reason why is because other people would have been like, "Oh, he's over there. I'm going to go over there now too." So like it would have started being like a magnet, and now instead of only 2 options, there would have been 3, I believe. That would have been everything would be a lot different right now if that would have happened. He's been in WWE almost 3 years, right? Since he came back.
Yeah.
So could you imagine 3 years of CM Punk in TNA?
I can't. There's not 3 years worth of dudes for him to work with there.
People would have showed up.
Wandered.
People would have showed up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you build it, they will come type of thing. Field of Dreams and all that.
Got anything to add to
that?
that?
No. We can go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is an exciting one for fans of wrestling. We have Tanahashi versus Okada is the highest rating of any match ever on Cage Match, with a rating of 9.83. That's pretty crazy, especially given that it's the internet and people are very critical on the internet. That's
well, they had a small amount of people that voted. Once more people get in there, the average would go down. It was just the hardcores and everything that were
right
like usual, but I mean, it definitely was.
I caught the highlights of the match. It was entertaining what I saw of it. I mean,
it was an Okada match.
Yeah, it wasn't an AEW Okada match.
It was about halfway in between what he used to be and what I guess he is now. But it definitely wasn't the greatest match ever. It was an awesome match. It was good, but to say that it deserves the highest ranking ever would be an injustice to any wrestling fan, new and old.
Well, that's an accurate description. And then we got a little fun factoid here. Tanahashi said in an interview that he was doing recently that when he was first starting out in the... Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was his post-match interview. Okay.
In the back, like during the post-presser.
Okay. So he's talking about when he was first starting out in the industry. One of my favorite wrestlers, I know TJ loves this guy too, Scott Hall told him, "You are the future." And he took that to heart. And he worked really hard his whole career. He said it meant a lot to him, and he wants Scott to know that he did become somebody just like Scott had predicted. So I thought that was a cool little cool little full circle moment for Tanahashi, in terms of reflecting back on where you were versus where you are.
It'd be crazy if like you got Scott like a couple years before he passed, they'd ask him like, so like, what about Tony? Who the fuck is that, man? Because he's fucked up all the time. But that's awesome. That is I didn't mean to shit on that with a negative take, but I can't help myself. But yeah, Scott's the man, and things like that definitely do carry you. I sent that to you earlier. I thought you'd like that a lot.
Yeah, it was cool.
Well, you got anything else that you think's cool that you were going to talk to us about?
No. We got I'm just kidding, by the way. TNA's debut show on AMC has already sold more tickets than AEW's Collision residency. Well, that's a big oof, and I did see some people online making the counterpoint of that people are excited because it's their first show on AMC, so they're buying up all the tickets and all that jazz. But I mean, this is going to be the year that the perception of AEW versus TNA really ramps up, and the battle for number 2 is going to really, really occur. It may even, be the final battle and TNA just overtakes them. I don't know what's going to happen.
It should be pretty interesting because, they're talking about they want to, everybody knows they're not doing it, but they're talking about competing with WWE. And they might be competing with another company by the end of the year. It may not even be by the end of the year that it happens. What if they start putting out a good television product and it gets hot and somebody gets over? Because that's the difference. Who has organically gotten over like a Daniel Bryan did and since him? Has that happened?
I can't think of a person that has gotten over organically since Daniel Bryan. I think the companies have kind of
they've beaten the fans down. They molded them.
Almost figured out how to curb that.
Yeah, you're 100% right. But so anyways, that takes me to say, what if TNA did get somebody that could get over organically? And then the crowd started coming. And then they started getting like 3,000 a show. Sorry, go ahead.
They did have somebody that got over organically, and now he's signed to WWE.
Well, I'm just saying, like, what happens if I'm just saying, what if the right guy comes along?
Right. They get a real big name that blows the shit up.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're getting the same weekly television audience as AEW. Or they start siphoning some, or I'm just saying, like, let's just say attendance only. They're getting the same attendance as AEW. And then they start to overtake them. That, perception-wise, is going to be huge. And there is a reality that could happen because there's a lot of weeks where AEW has 900 people in attendance, 1,200, 1,500. This was their lowest year ever for that. And WWE, compared to the year before, had a huge drop in attendance as well. So, I mean, it's not just AEW, but it's just, it hurts them more because they got a bigger percentage taken out of their shit when you're at a lower level. But,
right.
It'll be interesting. We'll be here to let you know how it happens, right? And,
I'm pulling for TNA, but not because I want bad things for AEW. I just want a healthy, big wrestling community that has multiple companies where people can go and apply their trade.
Yeah, that would be amazing to have 3.
Yep. I mean, think about it. In our lifetime, there have only ever been a big 2, right? Like when we were kids, it was WWF and WCW. And then, ECW was kind of like a startup, but, they were never going to be a real number 2. And then now we have WWE in AEW and TNA. And, TNA was number 2 by default there for a while.
Yeah, they were.
Just because it just was what it was.
Everybody likes a good comeback.
Yep.
Speaking of,
they have enough history that with some of the people that they've used in the past that they could maybe use in the future in terms of just getting eyes on the product and generating interest, not necessarily having dudes do in-ring stuff. We got to see AJ in TNA one more time before he retires, right?
I'm sure we will. Probably on that first show.
Yeah, most likely. You would think that AMC probably wants that.
Yeah.
To be hulked up as can be.
I bet they do. It's probably one of the reasons why the deal happened, because the WWE partnership. That's one of the things that we had read.
Yeah. Yep.
And speaking of that, I think we're going to get a little video game talk, our Channel 3 segment here that we're going to jump into.
Oh, boy.
And this is more like a history segment, and then we're going to talk about it afterwards because, everybody knows a little bit about this, and it's going to be about kind of like Sega's like downfall and kind of like what caused it. I'll read a little bit, but I know a lot of this by the old noggin. But before we get into that, so one of the guys that co-founded Sega, David Rawson, he passed away on Christmas at the age of 95. That's a pretty old age.
What an incredible run for an incredible man. Most people probably don't even know the name David Rosen, you know, and why would you? But, this man helped us to be able to play so many cool Sega things in the history of Sega existing. He literally the co-founder. I don't know.
Just Sega. If it wasn't for him, modern gaming wouldn't be what it is now,
Right. Sega, regardless of how folks feel about them or their place in, how they ended up losing the console wars and everything and becoming like a game company, they pushed Nintendo to be better. They pushed Sony to be better. If it weren't for Sega constantly nipping at these companies' heels and sometimes eclipsing or passing them, we wouldn't have gotten some of the same innovations in the industry, I think. So, Sega is owed a great deal of gratitude in the lexicon of gaming history. Yeah,
Sega's definitely one of the innovative companies out there in gaming history. Rest in peace, David Rosen. I always say those names funny, but we'll see you again one day. And speaking of see you again one day, we're going to talk about the company that he co-founded here. So when the Genesis came out, they started with the Mega Drive, and then it was the Master System, then the Mega Drive. And then the Genesis was the Mega Drive in the US. So Sega actually ended up beating Nintendo at the beginning when they were competing with them with the Super Nintendo. This Sega of America wanted to extend the Genesis's life. So they ended up planning with architecture and all that shit in Japan for the Saturn, which would be, the 32-bit system, CD-based for Sega. Japan, they also really focused on the Japanese side, their arcade hardware, which was basically their console, but a more beefed up version. So the Saturn was end up finalized, and it was worked on way longer than what came out next. That's going to come out from Sega of America. So SGI, the company that made the hardware for the Nintendo 64, they ended up doing a proposal to Sega of America to try to put their hardware in their next console. But it was already too late, and they didn't want to anyways. Japanese, they already had said yes to the other company, so they don't like to go back on once they make plans. But anyways, the Sega 32X was the thing that they were going to extend the life of the Genesis with. It was so the chips that went into the Saturn were also the chips that went into the 32X. 32X had one, the Saturn had two of them. So the US supported the 32X to stay competitive, but it just didn't have enough software to stay competitive, and it always had the Japanese market against it because they were going to try to push the Saturn. So there was no world where this was going to work. The 32X had a pretty high price, limited games, and customers were confused with it. They had heard about the Saturn, and the Saturn was actually surprise launch on the same day that the fucking 32X was launched, but it was surprise launched in Japan. So, one day after the 32 release X in the US.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, they didn't care, and they literally were like, they were like, they butted heads. Japan and the Sega of America didn't like each other. So the US was still promoting the fucking 32X like a year after it came out. Not a year, but like 5 months, and it was already not working out very well. Pressure was building, and the Saturn hasn't came out in the US yet. But if they were going to start manufacturing enough of these things to come out in the US, well, what are they going to take these from? The 32X, right? So you take the system that came out, and they were selling it for like $20. I think it launched for $150, but they were selling it for $20 like a year after it came out. It was nuts. But they ended up doing a surprise launch for the Saturn in the US. It came out May 11th. Sony undercut it instantly it was $400. Sony undercut it $299. So that ended up fucking them up right there. Since it had the dual CPUs, it was really hard to develop for. There was no main Sonic game for it. PlayStation became the primary console that these people were developing the games for. It was pretty different architecture, so right off the bat, that was a split there. The Saturn did really well in Japan, not as well as the PlayStation. It did at first, actually, for the first couple of years. It was competitive in Japan. That didn't last. They were going to merge with Bandai. That didn't work. The president that really tried, that was the president during the Saturn, ended up stepping down. They had a new guy step over, Eman Najari, and then the whole thing fell apart. The Dreamcast ended up coming out a couple years later. They abandoned the Saturn. The whole thing fucked up. It had a good launch. The 32X and Saturn debacle was part of the reason why the Saturn didn't have the people latching on to the Dreamcast, because they remembered all the shitty, confusing aspects of it. And that's a small history of why Sega of Japan and Sega of America never really worked out. They butted heads. We could get more into the detail, but we don't have all day here. But I just thought that was interesting to go over a little bit. It's crazy. A great company destroyed itself from within.
And Dreamcast was awesome. It was very unfortunate that all of the missteps that happened before that, we'd be still seeing Sega sell consoles today probably, had that one picked up.
Yeah, it's a shame.
When I think of Saturn, I honestly cannot remember a game that I've played on it. And like you said, there was no Sonic game. I remember that there was supposed to be a Sonic game. I remember it being talked about in Electronic Gaming Monthly and in GamePro. It was like Sonic something.
So Sonic 3D Blast for
Sonic X or something like that.
Sonic 3D Blast for the Genesis ended up getting ported to the Saturn. And then they did a Sonic Mega Collection for the Saturn. That was it.
I think it was supposed to be like Sonic Extreme or something like that.
That's it. I'm pretty sure. But that game got canceled. I'll show you a video later, but they wanted to do this fish islands and this weird 3D thing that you ran around in. It wasn't going to work, but I don't know why they didn't. Those games didn't take that long to pump out back then. That should have been like their main deal. But you know what's funny? The 32X did in some way have a mainline Sonic game, but it was a Knuckles game, Knuckles Chaotix, and it was weird. It had two characters, and they were attached by like this rope basically, and then you could fling each other around and use physics. The sprite scaler did a really good job at making Knuckles bigger, but that game could have been on the Saturn.
I want to circle back to something real quick. You know how you just had mentioned Bandai earlier?
Yeah.
I think I have news that you might not have read today. Okay. Or maybe you did. But maybe I got you here.
I read nothing about them today.
Okay, good. So I got you. Sony. Sony?
Yeah.
They acquired Bandai and Snoopy today.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Huh, that's interesting.
So that's just an example of them expanding their entertainment reach on legacy content, because things of those like Snoopy and Bandai stuff there's a ton of fucking shows involved in all of that. Like, there's content. Think of all of the Bandai video games, all of the Power Rangers stuff that was Bandai, all of the Dragon Ball stuff that was Bandai. Like, this is not a small acquisition.
No, not at all. You hear the last of the Bandai Punani?
Yeah, the guy actually built into the contract that he had to get that before the sale was going to go through, or elsewise they wouldn't do it.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. Well, speaking of things that you're talking about, why don't you take us into this next segment here? And then maybe we'll get on out of here.
Okay, so we got a little bit of Dragon Ball talk that we're going to be talking about right here. And that's going to be... Yeah, so
powering up.
There's some Dragon Ball Super rumors. So what's driving this buzz? You might be asking. Well, the Dragon Ball Genkidama Matsuri event in Japan is being positioned as a major franchise celebration. Fans are going to be there. They expect huge announcements. They've already hinted at a couple of them. So they're saying that Dragon Ball Super might be returning. It's either going to be a continuation, which I would think would be cool, or a partial remake. People are leaning more towards the remake, so they can work on that for a bit and then let the manga go so they can catch up to a little bit, give some time. But the remake or Super wasn't 100% the same as the manga. There was differences. So they'll have better animation and more true to the manga. The anime has been active for since 2017 or 18 or something. They're talking about a new game, and it's funny, Bandai Namco is expected to show something. So maybe Sony is going to be controlling those games now. And then we got this possible new movie that Dragon Ball. They've been doing a lot of the movies lately. That's what Super and Dragon Ball has been staying alive with the past couple years. They had that Dragon Ball Superhero, and they had the Dragon Ball Broly movie before that. So I think we're probably going to get all three. We're going to get a new anime, we're going to get a new movie, and we're going to get a new game. Maybe we'll get more than one new game. Who knows? But nothing's been officially announced yet because the event hasn't happened yet. It's happened later this year. Later this month. I think it's January 20-something, 21, 23rd. Between that. But look forward to that when it happens. We'll let you know what happens, and I'm sure me and Dave are really looking forward to it. He ended up finishing watching Daima, I think this month or last month.
A couple weeks ago. It was really good.
Yeah, they had money for that. The animation on that was fucking amazing.
The man, those last fights. Oof.
Yeah, Goku's your man.
If you're a Dragon Ball fan, and you've been watching it for a long time, or you haven't been watching it for a long time, either way, highly recommend it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's part of shit that forged mine and Dave's character because we watched the fuck out of it growing up.
Yep.
Video games, Dragon Ball, marijuana, the list goes on.
Surge.
Yeah. Not Kratom. Me and him have actually never done that. I've never stooped that low, even though we always joke about it. Oh, yeah, we do have a special report.
Before we get to that, now that we, since we were talking about Surge and stuff, the pizza place Hungry Howie's.
Yeah.
I'm hungry, so this is why food is coming up now. Us saying Surge made me think of this. A couple episodes ago, TJ and I told that story about what we used to do with our friends back in the day and shit like that. One of the things that I forgot to mention was we would go to Hungry Howie's after we picked up all that Surge, and we'd get pizzas, and they've got that 3-cheeser bread, which is fire. But they also have this other thing called a pizza sub, which is basically, to me, it looks like they take a medium pizza and make it and fold it in half and then shake a bunch of
where I grew up.
Hell yeah. Bro, those things are fucking awesome.
So they would come in and they would how they would sell stuff at school with those event charity fundraisers. They would do that with the wedgies too, and then they'd make them for you could take them home. Ooh. But the restaurants were all of them in town made them too, so you could go to town and go multiple restaurants with wedgies. I'd always get the buffalo chicken. I like the fucking pepperoni one a lot.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the tried and true pepperoni. The chicken bacon barbecue one is pretty fire. I'm not normally a barbecue pizza guy, but that one's really good.
Absolutely. I like bacon pepperoni a lot. You can get that Italian sausage on it too. That's a good mix with bacon and pepperoni. Maybe we'll end up doing a segment about our favorite pizzas and our favorite pizza experiences. And if you haven't, I'm getting real close to the mic. If you haven't eaten at a Pizza Hut buffet, you've missed out.
Yeah, speaking of the Pizza Hut buffet, everybody always talks about, you got to eat kale. It's super good for you. And it's like, man, kale is the shit that they used to garnish the fucking Pizza Hut all-you-can-eat buffet with. Get that shit out of here. That's not food. That's a decoration.
You don't like it?
No. Have you ever had it? It tastes fucking horrible.
No, I don't eat shit like that.
I used to do I was going through this health kick for a while when I dropped the 80 pounds. And I was doing like smoothies and stuff like that. And my roommate's like, oh, we're going to put kale in this one. And I'm like, okay, I've heard of that. It's like a superfood or whatever. It sounds great. And like normally these smoothies are tasting good. Like, you know, we'd put a little bit of yogurt in there. There'd be like blueberries and fruits and shit. You know, there would be some spinach in there, but you didn't taste it. It was covered up with everything else. But man, he put that kale in there, and I was having to choke that shit down. I was like, I want to dump this out. I don't fucking want this. Kale is disgusting. If you can eat kale and you like it, good for you. That's wonderful. It's not for me.
I'm sure plenty of people out there like it. But speaking of...
Now we can talk about your special report.
It's not my special report. It's
like.
your special report. Take it away.
Well, we have a special report about Drew McIntyre, and we've got reports here that he is telling Brandy Rhodes and her mother that he's going to give them both cream pies like all of the other ladies in the back, which is wild. But I'm going to give you a cream pie, Brandy. And Cody.
What's this?
Cody's going to have to taste it.
Hold on. I got reports confirming it right now.
Wow.
I don't even need to call the guy. That's wrestling journalism. It happened.
Yep. We're saying it happened. It happened. My name's Dave. You can take what I say as the gospel. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, this was a fun show.
Yeah.
You know, fun little episode that we had here for the people.
I agree. What's up with the cardboard?
Oh, that was just something that was moving. Yeah.
Huh. Well, anyways.
Everybody was seeing behind the curtain there a little bit.
The cardboard's behind the curtain. But
the cardboard curtain.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up because we want to be nice and prepared for Raw when it happens. We probably could have gone over some of the stuff a little bit more, but we didn't want to because an hour and 30 minutes is plenty of time, and we have plenty of shit to talk about, and we really appreciate you guys for fucking listening. I appreciate you, Dave. I appreciate the Overmaniacs for listening. If you guys ever want to recommend any Kratom brand to me, you can, but like I said earlier before, I've never tried it before. But I'm going to hand it off to Dave. He'll say bye, and then we'll get on out of here. And then if Chris Jericho shows up at Raw tonight, then the dirt sheets were right, and if not, they lied.
Yep. Well, you know, they always just guess anyway. Just like, I guess we're going to get on out of here. We'll see you guys next time. Appreciate you for tuning in. Don't forget to do all the typical YouTube stuff that everybody hates to hear and we hate to say. Like, comment, and subscribe on all of our shit.
Yeah,
you know, we're almost there on the play hours. So, you know, we got a playlist going. If you guys are bored, you just fire that playlist up and just listen to us all day long at your job. You don't have to do anything. It just does it for you. And on that note, we're going to get on out of here. Oh, we're going to run from the pipe.
Punani.
Yeah, to some punani.